and the men who hope to unseat him at the top tonight. Jaime Busto managed to win this event a year ago. Bo looking to get back to the top, twice a winner in what is his home event, having moved to Andorra some years ago. Of course, for the second round, we will repeat 3 of the sections that we saw in the opening run. Section 2 will be carried out in reverse, and Section 4 has a slightly different entry point, I understand. But a familiar course, by and large, for the riders as we build up towards this section number 1. Billy Green then, first out in round 2. 7 marks behind his nearest rival. 5 failures out of 5 in round 1. This is a good opportunity to see what he's learned from that experience. His debut in the Extra World Championship, remember? 21 years of age, the youngest rider in this field. Our 5th different wildcard in the 5 rounds of this season. The 2023 Trial 2 World Champion, given a reward for his efforts. Single dab for leaning on that first step. Even tougher step to come. Less of a run up here. Green failed this section at the first attempt in round 1. He's failed it again in round 2. 30 marks then his progressive score. Another failure here would leave him consigned to the basement. Almost certainly, as he makes his way now through section 2. Single mark for leaning. Confident start to this one. This could be the first section that Billy Green makes it out of successfully. And that will earn a round of applause, certainly from the crowd here in Andorra La Vella. Billy Green, section 2. And it is another failure. A shame for him because he'd made good progress until then. So it's 10 marks for this run so far. 35 the progressive score. Obviously, if Matteo Grattarola were to score 25 marks, he would move on to 43. Another 8 drop marks for Billy Green, and he would be certain of finishing bottom tonight on his debut. I don't think the expectations would have been too much more than that, to be perfectly honest. Rider with very little experience, just the unofficial Ingolstadt indoor in 2020, his only previous experience of extra competition. Arrived in Spain on Wednesday just to get a little bit of training in some indoor style sections. This is the start of his extra career. Great work in the start of section 3. He failed this one at the first attempt. Billy Green was first out through the sections in round 1. He's had the opportunity to see how his rivals tackled them before he returns to the course. Brilliant ride from Billy Green in section 3. First completed tonight for the young Brit. Section that he failed before as well. So, as I said, it does show the opportunity for learning and that Billy Green has grasped it with both hands. A new section 4 in round 2. Reverse direction here. That's going to be 1 mark for leaning. No, it's going to be a 5. Lands it on the sump, but then slides off the edge of the section. One to go then for Billy Green. This is a repeat of section 5 from the opening round. Again, Green failed this one. Got through section 3 at the second attempt. We'll see if he's learned from his mistakes in section 5 first time out. Explosive start, certainly. Billy Green, one of the top riders from Great Britain at the moment, part of their Trial of Nations squad. 3rd in the British Championship this season, behind Jack Peace and Harry Hemingway. Certainly one of their best young riders at present. Billy Green. Final set of steps. But he's down. And it's a 5-mark score. So just the one completed section out of 10 for Billy Green in qualifying tonight. He will certainly be eliminated. He will also finish in last, regardless of what happens for his other rivals. But at least he showed some signs of improvement through section 3, and he's actually just completed section 5 as well, just to prove that he could have done it. But under pressure there, he falls at the final hurdle. On then to Matteo Grattarola. He trails Toby Martin and Aniol Gelabert by 2 marks. Looking to move out of 8th position tonight. Matteo Grattarola also 8th in the World Championship. Had a miserable start to this season with Vertigo. This is his first X-Trail appearance back with Better, for whom he's enjoyed good recent campaigns. Section 1, Grattarola scored 2 marks here at the first attempt. There's your first mark for leaning on the sump. Next step to come. And that too is landed on the sump. So it's 2 marks for leaning, but Matteo Grattarola is through section 1. Same score as in round 1. He moves on to a progressive score of 20. Section 2 now. Reverse direction to what we saw in the opening round, so effectively completely new territory for Matteo Grattarola. This section failed by Billy Green. That's going to be a single mark for leaning there. Now a challenging step to come. Grattarola makes his way down before bridging to that A-frame. Over the top of that, land the other side and ride out of the section. Grattarola, though, fails and lands heavily on his backbone. Hopefully he's okay after that tumble. Straight back on board the bike. 25 marks then, his progressive score, 7 in this run after a first failure of round 2. Into section 3 then. Repeat of section 3 from the opening round. Grattarola failed this one at the first attempt, but then again so too did Billy Green. He got through it just a few minutes ago. Can Grattarola do the same? He's got halfway up with a dab of his left foot, and he's jumped out of the side of the section. Obviously feels he can't jump back. He's marooned partway through. So good ride for Billy Green through that section 3, because Matteo Grattarola couldn't make it even at the second attempt. 30 marks the progressive score for Grattarola as he leaps in to section 4. He's taken a series of marks there, though. I think that's 3. 1 for leaning, 2 for footing as he scrabbled his way through. And that is going to be a failure through accumulation of marks in section 4. 17 and a progressive score of 35. Hat-trick of failures in succession for Matteo Grattarola. Section 5 then, just laying down a marker here in the hope that either Toby Martin or Aniol Gelabert gets it seriously wrong in round 2. Grattarola certainly hampered by illness in the week leading up to this event, hasn't been able to train in the way he had hoped for X-Trail Andorra La Vella. But it hasn't been much better a night for him here than it was in the early stage of this season with Vertigo. Grattarola is through in section 5 with just a single mark. So an 18-mark first run, another 18-mark run in the second round. 36 marks is his score from 10 sections in Andorra La Vella this evening. Well, that rules Matteo Grattarola mathematically out of contention for the podium positions. As we said, realistically, 6th place was the maximum target you would expect against the likes of Aniol Gelabert and Toby Martin. The 3 riders were separated by 2 marks after round 1. Second half of qualifying now for Toby Martin. And up he goes. And clean on that first step as well from Toby Martin. So confident start. Martin took 2 marks in this section 1 in round 1. On for his best result through here. Nobody's been clean through here all night. Jaime Busto took his only drop mark of round 1 in this section. And Toby Martin too has succumbed. Single dab for him. But what a great ride there from Toby Martin. Getting through that first step without taking a mark. So 1 better than Matteo Grattarola at the same stage in round 2. Opens up that gap by another mark over the Italian veteran. Section 2. Martin having to position the bike quite carefully on the landing. I don't think he ended up as far forward as he hoped. And he slipped out of the side of the section at high speed. Shouts in frustration. Assistant Alex Wigg getting him some water and presumably calming his man down now before section 3. This one we know is achievable. We've seen it done in round 1. We've seen it done by Billy Green in round 2. Martin, though, has taken a first dab, right foot, just on the opening modules before the main step, which is just about to come. Here it is, section 3. For Toby Martin, 22 marks on the progressive scoreboard, 25 for Grattarola at the same stage, so Martin 3 up. Here he goes. Big step completed successfully. Martin failed this section in round 1, remember. The turn is the final technical element of difficulty. How does he approach it this time? Lands it on the sump, he'll spin the bike round. 3 marks now given. I don't think Martin agrees with that, but he's got to be clean from here on in to avoid any further drop marks. And he's done so. So it will be 3 for Toby Martin in section 3. Gets through it for the first time after a failure in round 1. So just the 1 failure from 3 sections for Martin thus far in round 2. Section 4 next up. Failed by both Billy Green and Matteo Grattarola. Section 4. Single mark for leaning there for Toby Martin. A little bit unstable, that module at the top of it, so Martin moves on as quickly as possible. That's where Green slid out of the side of the section. Martin pressing on quite nicely here. Toby Martin is the first rider to successfully complete section 4. Brilliant second run from him thus far. 10 now his score in round 2. 26 overall, so guaranteed to finish ahead of Matteo Grattarola. But the target is going to be to move up from 7th position. Steps at the end of section 5. Martin failed this section in round 1. It was one of only 2 failures. Section 3 he failed as well at the first attempt. He's just got through that one, but he hasn't got through section 5. It's another failure. 15 then for the run. 31 his finishing total. So Toby Martin remains in 7th position, waiting to see if Aniol Gelabert in particular drops more than 15 marks so that Martin can make up a position. Toby Martin's finishing places this season so far: 7th in Barcelona and Wiener Neustadt, 5th in Pamplona and 4th in Extral Bordeaux just before the summer break, and his quite severe injury. This Extral season really his only chance to get something out of 2023, because that back injury sustained in April after a brilliant first day actually in Trail GP Spain. Day 2 ended it with 2 broken vertebrae at the bottom right of his back, 2 compressed vertebrae as well. Off the bike altogether for over 6 weeks. Sat out competition for almost 12. But Right from the start of his absence, Toby Martin said in the press his aim was to get back for the X-Trial season. He's done that. Returned in time for the Brimham round of the UK series, the final 2 rounds of the Trial GP campaign as well. Toby Martin then leads in round 2 after the first 3 completed riders. 31 marks the target total for Aniol Jalabert. He's on 16 after round 1. In the case of another tie between the two of them, it would go down to the superior round 2 results. And that might well be decided on time. Should Aniol Jalabert get through section 5, the advantage will be his. Section 1 in the meanwhile. First drop mark for Aniol Jalabert. 16 marks, as we've said, in round 1. He failed sections 3 and 4. He did get through section 1 at the first attempt with a 3-mark score in his opening ride of the night. Better representative Jalabert just about lands it on the sump. Right on the edge of that crate. The bike unbalanced for a moment. I thought he might lose it. But he saved his second run. 2 marks though. Pops 1 behind Toby Martin at the same stage. Aniol Jalabert, in only his 4th appearance of this season. Ronnie Fajardo was selected ahead of him as the wildcard for X-Trial Barcelona. Aniol Jalabert then coming in as an event rider in Wiener Neustadt, the wildcard at Pamplona. Performed so well in those 2 rounds with a 5th and a 6th position that he's become an established fixture in the series now. Only 8th in Bordeaux. He sits 6th in X-Trial Andorra La Vella. Great ride in section number 2. First rider through there after successive failures for Billy Green, Matteo Grattarola and Toby Martin. Advantage now very much with Aniol Jalabert. And if he gets through this one with only a 2-mark score, he will finish ahead of Toby Martin. He'll be guaranteed at least 6th position. 3 failures only could leave him on a bigger score than Martin. Toby Martin finished on 31. Brilliant work again from Aniol Jalabert, and still clean in this section 3. Binkaz among the riders who made this section with a clean in round 1. Aniol Jalabert unable to do the same because he's just taken him up for leaning, just choosing to play it safe on the turn. Great run so far then from Aniol Jalabert, and that guarantees him 6th place tonight, matching his result from X-Trial Pamplona. The way he's gone thus far, if he can finish with a flourish, might still be in contention for Le Mans should there be any slip-ups from the Big 5. First drop mark of section 4. Toby Martin only dropped 1 mark there. That was all he lost. He was clean for the remainder. Aniol Jalabert then takes another mark for footing, the left foot going down. But he will be through in section 4 with 2 marks. 5 marks from 4 sections for Aniol Jalabert. 21 his progressive total. 11 marks more than Adam Ragger's score, but Ragger still has 5 sections to ride, of course, in round 2. As I was touching on previously, Binkaz might well be the target for Aniol Jalabert should the Frenchman slip up. Looked very good though in his opening ride. Big leap again from Jalabert, takes the same approach as he did in round 1. 1 drop mark, the left foot's down. Will there be a mark for leaning in that as well? Yeah, it's 3 in the end. A little bit scrappy, but Aniol Jalabert doesn't fail a single section in round 2. Finishes the run on just 8 marks. 24 his progressive score. So 6th place, Aniol Jalabert on 24 marks. 7th for Toby Martin on 31. 8th, Matteo Grattarola 36. Billy Green on 47 will bring up the rear tonight. Next Next up in round 2 will be Adam Raga, man who so often has been the closest rival to Tony Bowe, 4 times world champion. The rider still recovering from injury. Ruptured the meniscus in his left knee in March, carried on riding through to extra summer break, but by June he was at the point that he could no longer really walk, so he was forced into surgery. Took 3 weeks off, so he missed Trial GP Andorra in July. That means that this is his first World Championship appearance in the Principality this year. Adam Raga down again in section 1. He failed section 1 in the opening round, and it left him trying to recover for the remainder of the run. He finished it down in 5th position, a mark behind Benoit Bincaz, 2 marks behind Gabriel Marseille, and now he has even more ground to make up. We've seen from Aniol Jalabert how achievable the rest of the run is. Raga's going to need to be near perfect, and now needs errors from the likes of Benoit Bincaz and Gabriel Marseille. He's looking in danger of elimination here, Adam Raga. TRS man in what will be his final season with the manufacturer. At 41 years of age, they've decided to move on to a new generation of riders for next season. Adam Raga at least getting that news early enough that he can start to look for a new team and a new manufacturer for 2024. For the moment, his focus on X-Trail Andorra La Vella, but it's going horribly wrong for Adam Raga. Failure in section 1 and a failure in section 2 as well. He's already on 20 marks and only 4 up on Aniol Jalabert's finishing total, with 3 sections still to ride. This could be disastrous for Adam Raga. Certainly has been thus far. Hasn't been out of the top this season, Adam Raga. Has dropped out of the podium places twice, though, real rarity in his career. 146 appearances in X-Trial, 124 of them have ended on the podium. 4th place is at X-Trial Barcelona and also Pamplona. 3rd in Wiener Neustadt and 2nd in Bordeaux, just before the summer break. And another failure for Adam Raga. This is so uncharacteristic. Aniol Jalabert moves above Adam Raga. Adam Raga drops then into 6th place. Aniol Jalabert up into 5th on 24 marks. Can Raga salvage some pride in the remaining 2 sections here? 6 marks ahead of Toby Martin overall. Section 4. For Adam Raga, who has been dreadful thus far in his second run. Single mark for leaning there. That won't be of any great concern. Toby Martin took a mark. Aniol Jalabert there as well. But Raga's hopes of the podium, I think, are already extinguished. Barring an absolute disaster for 2, 3, in fact, of his rivals. Raga through with a single mark in section 4. 26 his progressive total, so he is still 5 ahead of Toby Martin. And having dropped down into 6th place, he needs Bincaz, Marseille, and to both really slip up now. He's already dropped behind Aniol Jalabert as well. Unlikely that you'll see Tony Bowe and Jaime Busto drop enough marks. Adam Raga then, just to keep himself in mathematical contention, needs to get through this section 5. But realistically, his hopes of making the podium tonight are all but over. Final steps of section 5. Raga does that one nicely. Very nicely, in fact. To clean for Adam Raga in section 5. Finishes round 2 on 16 marks. Progressive total of 26, puts him 2 behind Aniol Jalabert. So Jalabert moves up into 5th position on 24, then it's Raga 26, Martin 31, Grattarola 36 and Green 47. For me, that ride for Adam Raga has just ended his night. Down in 6th place now, so he needs 3 riders to slip up. Benoit Bincaz next up then, with a real shot at the podium tonight, just 1 mark behind the top 3 after round 1. Gabriel Marseille, his target. Bincaz has not had a good season thus far. 6th in Barcelona and Wiener Neustadt, the best of his results. He's 6th overall in the championship with just 13 points from 4 rounds. Chasing his first podium since Extra Bilbao back in 2020. Had a bad summer as well with some mechanical difficulties in the outdoor season. Focus on Extra tonight, and it's been a good start. And a good start to round 2 as well for Benoit Bincaz. Took 2 marks in this section 1 in his opening ride. Clean thus far. First step made successfully without taking mark for leaning. Will for leaning. He's just got to avoid unforced errors because he's going to know that Gabriel Marseille is a tough competitor. Failure for Marseille in that section 3 it is that rather handed Bincaz a lifeline. Takes him another mark, I think, for leaning later on. There was the clack of the sump that I heard as he came through to the finish. The observer and the referee just discussing it as he got through the exit gate. It will be 2 marks for Benoit Bincaz. As I called, you could hear that one rather than seeing it necessarily. So 2 marks in section 1. Bincaz will feel that 1 got away from him there. There's another drop mark, that's for leaning. This section trained by Aniol Gelabert. But what a great ride it was in Gelabert's second run. Benoit Bincaz. 11 marks his progressive score. Long way to go though just yet in round 2. Important moment this one. Raga failed, Martin failed, Grattarolo failed, Green failed. But Benoit Bincaz is through in section 2. Good start to the second round for him as well. Single mark there, moves on to 3, so 12 the progressive score. Bit of a misjudgment there for Benoit Bincaz early in section 3, takes a mark for leaning. He was clean through this section in round 1, so he'll be frustrated about that. Big step now to come. This is the key moment of the section. Raga failed, Grattarolo failed. Martin 3, Billy Green got through this one, and Aniol Gelabert with 1 mark has set the example in round 2. 3 riders were clean in section 3 in round 1, including this man Benoit Bincaz. He won't be clean at the second attempt. Keeping his score as low as possible is the target. The way you do that is by avoiding failures. Marseille and Bincaz had a fiasco apiece in round 1. Round 2, Bincaz has not suffered a 5 thus far. Single mark in section 3. Does the turn on the back tyre? He took a risk and it has not paid off. It's a 5-mark score in section 3. The easier route has been landing it on the sump, turning 90 degrees, taking the mark and proceeding. Bincaz, well, he had to try something because he's the one setting the target score for Gabriel Marseille. But that's going to leave him relying on a lot of errors from Marseille. And he's got himself a bit stuck here early in section 4 as well. 2 drop marks already, 1 for footing, 1 for leaning. 17 his progressive score. Another one, I think, there for leaning at the section's more challenging point, the one that's caught out a few riders already, including Gelabert. Any further drop marks will be a failure here then for Benoit Bincaz. And that's it. Lands on the sump on the final step. Back-to-back failures for Benoit Bincaz. 22 marks his score now. He's battling just to hold on to 4th position. That's another drop mark. That moves him on to 23. He's 1 ahead of Aniol Gelabert. Another drop mark and Gelabert will move above him into 4th. 15 seconds to go as well. The pressure is on. Bincaz will take another. Scrabbling his way home. Has he got there? 3 marks. He's got there before the klaxon. 3 marks. 16 the run score. 25 overall, and by getting there just about in the nick of time, with only a second to spare, Benoit Bincaz remains ahead of Adam Raga in the progressive scores. Jaime Busto leads on 1, Tony Bow on 4, Gabriel Marseille on 8, and then of the riders who've already completed all 10 sections, is Aniol Jalabert 24, Benoit Bincaz 25, Adam Raga 26, then Martin Grattarola and Green. Benoit Bincaz will be disappointed in the end with that second run because there was an opportunity for him to qualify through to the grand final tonight, and I think he's let that opportunity slip. Adam Raga with 3 failures in a row. Benoit Bincaz with only 2 failures, but they both finish on 16 marks in the second round. Bincaz beats Raga courtesy of his superior performance in the opening round, 9 points to 10 in round 1. Bincaz will be particularly frustrated to have failed section 3 that he cleaned at the first attempt. Section 4 was a new section for him. So Gabriel Marseille can move through to the grand final if he finishes this run on less than 24 marks total. So 8 already to his name, 16 marks here for Marseille, and he would drop behind Aniol Jalabert. 15, and he's through to the final to add his career podium tally that currently sits at 5, 2 of them in 2023. All the while, of course, Adam Raga, his championship rival in the battle for bronze, has dropped down pecking order into 6th place this evening. So a good opportunity for Marseille to bank some major points. Round 2 for Gabriel Marseille gets underway. This section failed by Billy Green and by Adam Raga. But his target here is Aniol Jalabert, who leads round 2, incidentally, with a score of just 8 marks. That's what Marseille scored in round 1. Second step with a single mark for leaning. Same line that most of the riders have taken through there. You can see the tyre marks, actually, where they've all been landing the back wheel. So Marseille with a single mark in section 1, moves on to 9. Still 14 marks to play with. Each successfully completed section moves him 1 step closer to the grand final and to the podium here at X-Trial Andorra La Vella. Hasn't been on the podium here before. Only 4 different riders have actually been on the podium in 3 previous visits to Andorra La Vella. The 3 you would guess: Bo Raga and also Jorge Casales from our inaugural visit to the Polisportivo d'Andorra in 2019. Marseille looking to put his name among them. Section 2. Marseille is up, and Marseille is through, urged on by Repsol Honda team boss Takisa Fujinami. Former X-Trial winner, of course, the Japanese. So 2 marks. Gabriel Marseille moves him on to 10 progressively. 24 was Aniol Jalabert's finishing total. So if Jalabert gets through any of the remaining 3 sections, he is through to the grand final. Could bank his place in the top 3 as soon as section 3. Gabriel Marseille, the big step complete. He doesn't need to take the risk of trying this one on the back tyre like Benoit Bincaz did before him. He can just go up, land it on the sub, turn, take a mark, and he's through. Is he going to be thinking about the championship point? Yes, he is. And he's done it successfully. Gabriel Marseille is through to tonight's grand final, is on the podium at X-Trial Andorra La Vella, and has done it in style with a clean in section 3. 10 marks is progressive total. Even 2 failures from here would only leave him on 20. Aniol Jalabert, 4th position. Cannot now catch him. First mark of section 4 dropped by Gabriel Marseille, who's now targeting the 9 marks accrued by Aniol Jalabert in round 2. To sit top of this second round. Remember, there's a World Championship point up for grabs. That's a second mark. Leaning on that final step for Gabriel Marseille. 4th for the run, 12 overall. 1 more section to cover. Remember, seeding order for the grand final now will also be on Marseille's mind. keeping his score as low as possible. Nice to see a really confident ride in Section 3. He didn't just bring it home for a place in the final. Got the clean. 4 marks from 4 sections. This is Section 5. 20 seconds on the clock, less than. Just these 4 steps to go. Marseille is up. Brilliant ride from him. It's the second clean of the run. He leads in round 2. He's through to the grand final. And with a really confident ride there, Gabriel Marseille will extend his lead over Adam Raga in the battle for bronze in this 2023 Extra World Championship. Great performance, that one. 5 seconds to spare as well. 2 riders then still to come. But Gabriel Marseille is the first of your grand finalists. Adam Raga, 6th position this evening. Watches on as Marseille confirms a podium place. It'll be 3 podiums for this season so far for Marseille. Made his first podium at the age of 20 at Extra Budapest in 2020. Podium finisher in each of the last 4 seasons. Barcelona 21, Madrid 22, and then Extras Barcelona and Pamplona this season. 3rd podium then in 5 rounds for Gabriel Marseille in this 2023 campaign. All that remains is for Tony Beau and Jaime Busto to try and book their places. Notice that Jalabert's finishing total for the 10 sections had been amended to 25. Just a little bit of remedial work taking place here on section 4. So a little bit of wobbling on the top one of those cable drums earlier on. And it looks as though just for a question of safety, a little bit of metal work taking place just to shore that up with 2 riders still to come. A section that will be used again in the grand final, so we've got to make sure that it's absolutely right. As Tony Beau settles in for his second run. Beau on 4 marks. Aniol Jalabert and Benoit Vincaz both 25 marks overall, so 20 marks to play with for Tony Beau. Maximum of 20 he can score here. 5 sections, so he only needs to get through a couple of them. Here we go then. Section 1 underway from Tony Beau. And a big first step. So far so good for Tony Beau. Nobody's yet been clean through section 1 in the second round. Or indeed all night. Jaime Busto took his only mark of round 1 on the step that's coming up next. Tony Beau bidding to become the first rider clean through section 1 this evening. He's done it! Tony Beau clean in section 1, and once again the master has spoken. Single drop mark for Toby Marseille in round 2. Jaime Busto dropped a mark there in round 1, as did Gabriel Marseille. Beau with his first clean of round 2. And unless he drops 4 fiascos now, Beau is through to the grand final. Career podium number 92 for Tony Beau, on to the grand final of Extra Andorra La Vella in 2023. Back-to-back cleans at the start of round 2. Section 3 now. 4 marks his progressive score. Target total of 4 set by Gabriel Marseille, the leader of round 2. Bonus World Championship points on offer for Tony Beau. He'll be keen to get it after losing out on the first one to Jaime Busto in round 1. Beau with the turn on the back wheel. He's still clean in his second run. Marseille had dropped 2 marks by now. Aniol Jalabert had dropped 3. Could it be a clean ride from Tony Beau in round 2? If it is, then Jaime Busto will have to do the same and beat Beau on time then to take the bonus point. Section 4. that newly restabilised entry to it. First drop mark of the run for Tony Bowe. The fact that we're shouting about that rather shows what a brilliant display it's been from him thus far. And it will just mark in section 4. Such fast work through there. Elegant on the back wheel as well as ever. Just to avoid that last landing that's taken a couple of riders by surprise and caught them out for drop marks. Section 5 then for Tony Bowe. This one cleaned by 2 riders, Raga and Marseille. Bowe with time on his side. You can see the crowd urging him on the far side of the arena. Bowe is up, Bowe is clean, 4 cleans in 5 rides in round 2. He's through to the grand final, and he's done it in style. 1 mark. Beat that, Jaime Busto. Both 3 marks better than Gabriel Marseille in round 2. Jaime Busto with 5 cleans, or with 1 mark and a faster time. But what a fast time that was from Bowe, who now makes his way back to the middle of the arena. Just to shake hands with teammate Gabriel Marseille. Marseille must be benefiting from partnering up with Bowe at the highest level, with the most successful team of the last decade and a half, certainly. Tony Bowe, the master, Gabriel Marseille, the apprentice. But the fly in the ointment for Repsol Honda's plans is Jaime Busto. Busto's hopes of topping round 2, though, are over already. Failure on the first step of section 1. I imagine Busto was trying to push a little harder to see if he could get it done without taking a mark. Now he needs to just refocus on booking his place in the grand final. He's on 6 marks now, so really would take 4 more failures, wouldn't it, for him to drop behind Jalabert and Bincaz. Any completed section then in round 2 for Jaime Busto, and he will be through to the final. But what about that seeding order? He's now on 6, 1 behind Tony Bowe. And it's another error from Busto, but he manages to save this one, landing it back down to the applause of the crowd here in the Polisportivo d'Andorra. Second attempt more successful, and Jaime Busto is through in section 2 to book his place in the grand final. 5 marks from 2 sections, 6 marks from the 7 thus far, 3 still to go. Target is to go into the final as second seed behind Tony Bowe. He will be. Bowe 5 marks from 10 sections. Busto 6 marks from 7 and 3 still to come. Can he maintain his 6-mark lead over Gabriel Marseille? Section 3, cleaned by Marseille and Bowe. Mid-air turn here to be executed if Busto doesn't want to take a safety dab for leaning. Can certainly afford to. Second seeding spot to the grand final is his focus here. He's done it on the back wheel, and he's done it very efficiently as well. Second successive clean for Jaime Busto. So Tony Bowe takes his first World Championship point of the evening. He watches on as his main series rival Jaime Busto heads towards section 4 of his second run. Oh, and Busto's got himself caught there. And that's 3 already. And any further drop marks will be a failure. Didn't quite get the landing right on that step. Sump and then the feet paddling his way forward just to stabilise the bike. Can't afford any further drop marks then, or it will be a failure. There's your drop mark, there's your failure. 5 in section 4. 11 the progressive score, so Busto must now be clean in section 5 in order to go through to the grand final as your second seed. Gabriel Marseille 12, Jaime Busto 11, Tony Bowe 5. They will be your 3 finalists. Tony Bowe will have the advantageous last starting position. Who will be first out through the first section, though, in the grand final? Will it be Gabriel Marseille, or will it be Jaime Busto? Busto bidding for second seeding spot to the grand final. But he's taken a mark, and that's it. He will be the first rider out through Section 1 in the grand final. 30 seconds still to go. He'll take another mark for footing now, just to scramble home. Mattered little in the end, just that one drop mark had already relegated him behind Gabriel Marseille. So the top three in the opening round of X-Trial Andorra La Vella will be your three grand finalists tonight. By a sizable margin in the end as well. Adam Raga nowhere ultimately with 3 failures in round 2. 2 failures in the second run for Jaime Busto as well. So Gabriel Marseille with 4 marks in his second run. Tony Bo with just 1 wins the World Championship bonus points. Jaime Busto scores 12 marks in his second run, drops behind both Bo and Marseille overall. Tony Bo 5, Gabriel Marseille 12 and Jaime Busto 13 march on to the grand final. Performance as planned there from both Bo and Marseille. Repsol Honda duo march on 1-2 after rounds 1 and 2 in X-Trial Andorra La Vella, but it's the grand final where the bulk of the World Championship points are awarded, and that's still to come.
Un fort aplaudiment per al Màgic Team d'Andorra La Vella.
And here's your standings after 2 completed rounds. Bo, Marseille, Busto marching on. Jalabert missing out, but that's his best result yet. In the X-Trial World Championship, it's P4 for Jalabert. 9 championship points then on the board today for him. He'll move on to 21. 6 points for Benoit Bincaz, who misses out. It's 5th position for him this evening. He moves on to 19. So Aniol Jalabert now up to 6th in the World Championship standings. 3 points for Toby Martin. He moves on to 24 overall. So 3 up still on Jalabert, still sits in that 5th place. Adam Raga, that's going to have been his worst result for years.